I dub thee a nerdy knight of the round, sworn defenders of all who oppress the nerd. Now, on to the round table. Listen to what they say, for their words will guide you.
It's another nerdy night as my roundtable joins me, Ben, the Ridiculous Riddick, and my co-host Sam, DJ Fluffkins Chen.
Woo!
And Mike, the producer DeMarco.
Hello.
Hey guys. Tonight we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about superheroes, we're going to be talking about League of Legends, and we are going to be talking about game design. So make sure you stick through for the whole episode, but before we get into that, let's go to Sam with the news.
Ooh. The war on rage quitters rages on as Capcom announced in its April DLC notes that it would be punishing frequent disconnectors by simply locking them out of matchmaking for a period of time. My favorite response in the comments was this: "This won't stop anyone from rage quitting. You just need to give quitters a loss." Quitters are losers, Ben.
Quitters are losers. You can't lose if you quit, Sam. There's a difference.
I give up. Speaking of Ghost in the Shell, the internet was in an uproar this week over the casting of Scarlett Johansson as Major Kusanagi, an iconically Japanese character in the series. While whitewashing isn't uncommon in Hollywood, this one was particularly abhorrent as reports of VFX-assisted yellowface was used in screen testing. Although my favorite 2chan comments were definitely Scarlett Johansson looks terrible with black hair and Taylor Swift would have been better.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Bring on that T Swift.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, Sam, speaking of people with low IQs, IQ tests are a thing of the past. The real way for you to determine whether your infant is ready for a life of genius and video game domination comes in a test as old as Pokemon. Get science on your side by having your child
assisted yellowface was used in screen testing. Although my favorite 2chan comments were definitely Scarlett Johansson looks terrible with black hair and Taylor Swift would have been better.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Bring on that T Swift.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, Sam, speaking of people with low IQs, IQ tests are a thing of the past. The real way for you to determine whether your infant is ready for a life of genius and video game domination comes in a test as old as Pokemon. Get science on your side by having your child pick the right starting Pokemon. A video now with 12 million views shows that Cody Baker's daughter has what it takes to catch them all, as she correctly chose Squirtle as the starting Pokemon.
Ben, I think I'm going to, the next time if I ever adopt another dog, I'm definitely just going to have the 3 toys. And the dog that picks the right toy first, that's my dog.
There you go.
Definitely dog.
And whichever dog it is, you should name it Squirtle.
Ooh.
There you go.
Amazon is trying to give Netflix a run for its money as it announced this week a monthly plan for Prime and Prime Video. For $10.99, you can get all the Haribo gummy bears you want to pay for shipped to you within 2 days of shipping, or with 2-day shipping. And for $2 less, which for those of you keeping track is now less than Netflix, you can get all those award-winning Amazon-only shows. Which at this point only begs the question, who the hell is still paying for Hulu?
Not me.
Mike's friend, apparently.
Mike's friend. And last but not least, AMC announced that it was going to experiment with texting in movies at specific phone-friendly viewings as a plan to court millennials. Then, about as soon as the idea hit the internet, they rolled back those plans, citing intense backlash, once again proving that middle-aged white men really have no idea what a millennial is. I'm not even middle-aged, and I don't really understand what a millennial is, so there you go.
You are one. It's the Michael Scott rule.
Oh.
If you don't know what a millennial is, then you probably are one. Or anyone else. Yep, and that's it for this week's news. If you didn't hear it here, it wasn't nerdy enough or funny enough for us to care.
All right. one last thing before we get into our topics, and that's our active quests, which for those of you new to the show, our active quests are the nerdy things that the Roundtable has been doing over the last week since our last recorded episode. So, Mike, what have you been up to?
Destiny. I've been playing a lot of Destiny.
Woo!
Back on Destiny again. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The other thing I did was I'm in DC now.
I got a bunch of those exotic things that you didn't get.
Yeah, you did.
Boo.
But for anyone that doesn't know, I'm in DC now for the time being. And the world famous Cherry Blossom Festival is currently happening. So I went to the street fair on Saturday, and it was pretty awesome. It was basically like a convention out on the street. It was fun. And I bought a little Persona 4 Golden figure for us.
Marie, right?
Marie, yeah. And it's really cool. And that will be in the background.
The only person who's better than Marie is Rise.
You think so? Marie actually would not be my top pick, but the only two they had were Marie and Yukiko. And Yukiko was not wearing her red outfit. She was wearing...
What was she wearing?
She was wearing this weird, like, black school outfit that doesn't exist. So I was like, I'm not going to get that one. I'm going to get the Maria who's sitting on the TVs and stuff. It's nice and cool.
You know, it could be a reference to the anime, because I think she wears a black outfit in the anime at some point.
Potentially. That's like the winter outfit or something. But it's not her red one, and that's her classic. That's the one I would want her to wear if I had a figure of her. So I got Marie, and I'm happy with it.
Marie's cool.
Yep.
Sam, how about you? You're still not playing Persona, right?
I'm still not playing Persona. I'm still not playing Destiny. I don't think I've picked up a video game controller. Actually, you know what? I did test Division on Remote Play.
How was it?
When that came out. So when it was like actually connected and doing well, the actual latency was very low. So like it was actually really good. But then like it would skip and it would hop and then disconnect.
Not something you would want to go into the dark zone with.
Yeah. Which is really weird because I'm on a wired network. So I just don't know why it would have good performance and then bad performance on my internal network.
You can thank the PlayStation Network for that.
Yay! So the other thing I did this week was I spent 5.5 hours and watched the second season of Kimmy Schmidt, which came out on Friday.
I haven't started yet.
Doesn't watch Kimmy Schmidt, apparently.
I have watched Kimmy Schmidt, and I don't like it.
So, not a spoiler alert, you will not like this season either, then.
Okay.
So here's my general take is I did not like this season as much as season one.
Mm-hmm.
I will actually say it's a bad season as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I got 3 episodes into the first season before I was like, nah, this isn't fun.
No, I mean, like, I like the characters. I think it's funny. I liked season one.
Yeah, season one was great.
This was just not up to snuff. But, like, it actually feels like... I feel like it's a good thing. Because I feel like it's balancing out Netflix karma. Right? Netflix can only have so many great season 2s. So, if we get a bad one, that means the next one could be good. Right? So
that means we have to look forward to Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Jessica Jones.
Dude, Iron Fist.
Yep.
It'd be great.
Talk about a character I'm so excited to have a series coming. Okay.
All right, Ben, what have you been up to?
You know, for me, I've been reading a lot of comics. I've been trying to kind of catch up so that I'm ready for Marvel Civil War 2 and the DC Rebirth.
Yay.
So I think I've been reading about 20 issues of comics a day for the last week, trying to catch up on everything. Plus, you know, we're changing the format of nightly novels a little bit to be a book club every other week and a comic news show on the off weeks. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm completely up to date on everything, and my brain is in comic book overload at this point. Which,
what a nerd.
There's a lot of comics out there.
There are a lot of comics out there. And I'm just going to say this right now. If you're listening to this show and you do enjoy comics, but you typically don't leave the big two, being Marvel and DC, go buy a Dynamite comic and buy the first issue of the 007 series. Because
that sounds interesting.
It is so phenomenal that it's beautifully done artwork wise, and
is it Dynamite?
It's by it's the publisher is Dynamite, and the art is great, the story is great, and it shows a slightly darker side of James Bond than you usually see, while still holding the the core of James Bond there. So definitely go out and read it. I highly recommend it. And I'll be talking more about it. You'll be able to catch it on Wednesday. So.
Cool.
I could see myself like reading this.
It's only, I think it's like 3 issues into it so far. So Sam, I mean, if you wanted to jump in, I could definitely send you the first 3 issues.
Oh yeah. I'll jump in.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. So just be prepared. The next like 3 million weeks of Nerdy Nights Radio are probably going to be comic book related topics on my part. Speaking of my topic for this week is if you had superpowers. It's a very simple question. So we're going to start off with the question of if you could have any superpower, what kind of superpower would you want? Sam.
What do you mean by what kind of superpower would you want? That throws me. That throws me.
So, if you could have any power out there,
So, like, are we starting broad, or are we still dialing into like what power would you want? Period.
What power would you want? Period. We'll get into what you would use with that power. After.
Okay. So, I feel like the default power that I would actually be super interested in is actually invisibility.
Perv.
Yeah. Although, like,
I'm really glad you chose that one though, because that's not the power I would want, but there's something very specific I would want to do if I had the power of invisibility, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Now here's the thing. So, like, I will toss between that one and a more obscure-ish power, which is, you guys read Shadows of the Empire, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the power like the villain has in that one, except just in general. I don't know if his was just for women.
Okay, so why don't you explain to the listeners?
So basically his power was like if he came into like physical contact with you, like he could convince you to be on his side. So it's almost like a tuned down version of the what's that guy's name?
Mr. Negative from Marvel.
Kilgrave.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe the other one too. I don't know.
It's kind of it's like a high charming skill.
Yeah, exactly. Because I still feel like it'd be too boring to just control people.
Yeah, it would be. How about you, Mike? Any power?
I mean, at this point in my life, I would want something that's going to help me make money, grow me more fortune. I don't know what exactly I would pick for that, but the first thing that really comes to mind is flying, because I'm afraid of heights. Like, I have a really bad fear of heights. So flying.
Yes, that sounds great.
Flying would get rid of that.
Give a person with a fear of heights the power
to
fly.
I bet you.
How could you be afraid of falling if you can fly? It would get rid of the fear.
I guess that makes sense.
And you could fly around and get with transportation. It's great. The only thing better than that is teleporting, which I would also not shake my head at.
Look, why are you trying to put Ben's wife out of business? All right, that's not cool. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, for me, my first instinct is teleporting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would absolutely love the power to teleport.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would really love to live forever.
See, I don't think we're going to need a superpower for that.
But I mean, not like, but like in the same kind of way that Wolverine does it. Like,
right.
Immediately can heal from anything, and just because of that,
right.
Essentially
so
lives an incredibly long time.
You want a healing factor?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad. Healing factor's good.
Healing factor's great.
That gets rid of a lot of fears.
So
you don't have to worry about a lot of things.
So then here's the next thing. Sam, with your superpowers, would you lean more towards the side of evil or the side of good?
Probably good.
You think you would be a good guy? Would you be the hero of Las Vegas?
No.
Running around
Absolutely not.
Running around all invisible and stopping crime?
Yeah, okay, so like invisibility. I feel like there's a lot of like subtext to just transparency in how everything works, right? So to me, it'd be like being able to like go into rooms and figuring out like where the bad deals are happening, and then like potentially using that as a catalyst as information. And I could see how that sort of information could go pretty bad pretty fast.
So you would use it for espionage?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but like even in what sense? Like, would it be that bad if I used it to like spy on like one gang and let another gang get a drop on them, but like they would like cancel each other out? Like, I feel like that could happen. I feel like there's a potential to set up like some like gang wars where society has a net benefit. But like that's a gray area.
What about all the casualties of that? I mean, look at the Punisher.
No.
You
I
could
understand. I understand. No, I understand. That's where like I'm not sure if that makes me a good guy. I'm not sure if that makes me a bad guy. It like to me, I'm thinking of it as like I will try to use the power to like manipulate the like happenings of the world.
Okay.
That's where I see the value.
So Mike, you already talked a little bit about how you would use your power. Would you rob banks or would you use it to perform daring feats that you charge people to go see?
I mean, I don't know if it would be like that.
I also don't know how you could rob a bank with the power of flying. But
I wasn't really sure where you were going with that.
I don't know. As far as like being good or bad too, I think that's such a comic book way of thinking. I think I would.
Weird.
If it were reality based.
Why would I be talking about a comic book like thing?
But comic books are very like they're in that sense they're one dimensional. You have superheroes and you have supervillains, and that's just how it is. If it were reality, it'd probably be closer to like what Chronicle is, where it's like he's not a bad guy. He just kind of keeps pushing and keeps pushing and keeps pushing, and then eventually it's like, oh wait, he's a bad guy, and that's kind of just what happens. I don't know how Flight would do that though. He had like the telekinesis and stuff, and he was able to do things that would really hurt people, even accidentally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like Flight's a very passive power by itself. It's
what you could easily. I mean, so think of it this way: if you had the power of flight, you could easily be flying around DC, get shot down over the White House, and then save people from being mugged by taking them somewhere safe very quickly.
I feel like we need some more details
about because you'd have to need this. Like, I by myself probably couldn't pick up most people. So even if I'm flying, I probably wouldn't be able to pick up most people.
Are you saying if you didn't have a superpower, you wouldn't work out a little bit just to make sure that?
Probably, but I'm a pretty small guy. So even if I worked out really good, I probably wouldn't be able to lift up someone that's 300 or 400 pounds.
I feel like your example was Mike getting shot down, which, like, to me, doesn't matter if he can fly. If you shoot him, he's still gonna die.
Yeah,
the Jones are gonna come after me.
I'm just saying, if you're a flying person in DC, it's probably not the best place to be a flying person.
No, probably not. Yeah. But you just have to fly up higher than people can worry about seeing you accidentally.
There you go. And hope to not be picked up by any kind of active radar that the United States has.
We're too smart for that.
Above it. So here's my thing, Sam, with like your power of the invisibility. Sure. You know what the one thing, like if I could be invisible for a day, the one thing I would want to do would be to find a mime and beat the shit out of that mime.
Wow, man.
Like, that is the only thing that I want to do with the power of invisibility.
So it sounds like we don't really need to ask you whether you would use your powers for good or not.
Well,
because
I mean, the thing with,
beat up a mime.
the thing with my powers, I could really go both. I'm gonna live a really long time. I could taste both ends
He can
of
just
the
reset whenever he wants.
Yeah. I did not realize how much stuff was going on in the chat.
Yeah, it blew up kind of quick.
But yes, essentially, Citizen, I want to be Vandal Savage. I mean, come on. And no, mimes shouldn't be safe. They're creepy people, and I just want to. Come on, if you were somebody,
mimes are clowns. Mimes are clowns.
They are. And you can't say, if you were a person watching a mime get beat up by an invisible person, it wouldn't just be the most entertaining thing that you've seen.
Probably think he's
Because
a really good
as
mime.
It would, only if you were making the mime beat himself up.
Well, no, but you don't know that he's not doing it to himself because you don't know there's an invisible person there.
I don't know why you've given so much thought to this. This isn't even your power, Ben.
I know. This is what I do to try to make myself fall asleep, is I think of crazy hypothetical scenarios, like if I had the power of invisibility.
Why are we friends with Ben? He's just going to kill us in our sleep.
We don't live close enough, Sam.
Soon enough.
And then, I mean, Mike, with yours, I would err more on the side of teleportation, but and in the style, not the Nightcrawler style, but the Jumper style.
Jumper is exactly what I was thinking. Why not the movie? I think the movie's awesome. That movie is way underrated.
No, that movie's horrible.
No, it's not.
You should read the book, because the book's fantastic.
Jumper and Push were both underrated movies that should have existed in the same universe, and they didn't. And I was always upset about that.
The blood spewing from a mime would not give it away. It's like Sam said.
It'd be like
it's
a magic
just
trick.
Really talented, a magic trick.
You would think that they are the best mime ever.
The biggest trick to it is making the punches and kicks silent. Because if people can hear me punching the mime, then it's going to give it away. So that's the only thing that I haven't been able to figure out and perfect yet, other than wearing like pillows.
So now that we're taking it this far, Mike, I think I could see like when Ben as a character would have an existential crisis. Like we would find someone he loves and make them look like a mime, and he would beat the shit out of them, and then he'd be like, "No!"
You'd have to like become Joker and make Lee Harley Quinn and like mime her up so that he doesn't know what to do anymore. Just play mind games with
So crazy. It's gonna happen now.
Oh man.
Do we have any people who are artists? Let's draw this.
Let's draw Invisible Ben beating up a mime.
Yeah, and then like going through some sort of like mental depression.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, what else would I do with my life after I complete that? I mean, that is the ultimate bucket list item on my bucket list. Once I complete that, I mean...
So here's my question for you, Ben, regarding your not stealing my power. Like, I feel like, in a very general sense, that pop culture, and not just comic books, so just pop culture as a whole, has kind of agreed that, like, living forever ends up being a miserable existence. Like, why do you think that wouldn't be for you?
Because, Sam, life is what you make it. And yes, if you sit there and you make it miserable every day, then yeah, sure. But how cool would it be to live through just everything, seeing the rise and fall of empires and the growth of technology in general,
like losing all your friends all the time.
This gets into a different topic
because you would never make new friends.
This goes into another topic, but I completely 100% expect to live forever. Just throw that out there. I'm not even joking.
Ben, your superpower is weak.
I'm not even
joking. It's just gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, because we're getting into the topic of the singularity, which is what Mike is talking about, I'm assuming, right? Yeah.
It's already been a topic on the show.
Yeah, but I wasn't on that episode.
This is true. That was a Kenny episode. Yep. But no, I mean, okay, so if I didn't choose that, I would definitely go with teleportation, which is what I said before. And I mean,
Mine would be teleportation or flight, and it becomes a journey or a destination question. Really.
See, and then with teleportation, you could do the whole thing where you learn like really awesome martial arts, and then you incorporate your teleportation into it. Like, how fucking cool would that be?
Yeah.
Imagine filming that, Mike.
Oh, I know.
Just like, no, that'd be so cool.
That's one of those like, everybody has to film a lightsaber fight. I want to do a teleportation fight and a wizard wand fight. Those are the three that I want to do.
There we go.
Yeah.
Those don't feel like they would be too hard to do.
No, they wouldn't. But lightsaber fights specifically, as a film student, that's something that everyone does, and I still haven't done it yet. Because I'm like saving
Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'll buy a lightsaber.
When we bring BS Jousting back, that should be the opening video for BS Jousting, is Sam and I doing a lightsaber duel.
Sure.
Oh, I'd totally do it.
Yeah.
I'll buy a lightsaber.
Or
then
we could just
hate bed like a mime and beat him.
We could just do one of each. We could do a lightsaber battle, a wizard battle, and a teleportation battle.
3 rounds.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much. Okay, so I guess I have one more question for you guys. Could you think of a super name for yourself? Like, I mean, for me, obviously, I wouldn't have to change anything because I could just call myself the Riddick. And, that would just be a surviving thing for all time. But what would be your superhero villain name?
I'm sorry. You said that, and I'm like, look, you know what I would do to just piss you off? I would just put a poster of you up with, like, your real name. You would just so pissed.
What if I changed my name to the Riddick?
No, it doesn't matter. I would just put Max Riddick.
Sam would be your supervillain.
Be upset for all time.
His power would be to run around and spread the real information that you're trying to hide from everybody.
Exactly. I'm your mortal enemy.
Yeah, you're my mortal enemy when I'm immortal.
Yep, when I die, I won't be your mortal enemy.
Nah, he'll be a robot. It'll be fun.
Okay, whatever.
No, I have no idea what I would call myself.
Me neither. Oh. I feel like if I had a power.
So apparently, I've given this too much thought, is what you're telling me.
If I had a power, it would be part of that. Doing that would be hiding myself. So I probably wouldn't come up with a name. I would avoid that.
So I'm in the same boat as Mike. Like I wouldn't necessarily want people to understand that I have this influence on everything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that takes away some of the interesting parts of it. So
well, okay, not necessarily knowing that it's you, but Sam, what would the gangs be afraid of? Like, what would they be calling it?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't either. I was trying.
Invisible. They don't know he's even there.
Shut up.
The shadow.
They just call you the snitch. The invisible snitch. There you go. I figured it out.
Yep.
So we've got the Riddick, the invisible snitch, and no name. As the opening of the show also says. Because I can't figure out a good, consistent name for Mike.
Yeah.
We could just give him bad, consistent names.
Until he comes up with his own.
Yeah.
I
like that. All right. New segment. Every week, you and I will come up with a really bad name for Mike.
So, guys, if you have a suggestion for a really bad name for Mike at the opening of the show, email ben@nkrn.org with your suggestions, and I'll start using them in the opening. All right, guys, I think that's the end of my topic. Remember, Nerdy Nights Radio is live on Twitch every Monday evening at 7:30 Pacific Time, and you can be a part of the show, like Citizen PM is, by participating in the Twitch chat. You can then find the show on YouTube at Nerdy Nights. And of course, you can find us on your favorite podcast subscription service of choice. Let's move on to our next topic. And that topic is Sam's.
Yeah.
Woo! Best topic. Okay, so the North America League Championship Series for League of Legends was in Las Vegas this last weekend, and I had a friend in town who works at Riot, and he got us tickets, and I went and watched my first League of Legends anything. Really anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience. It was a ton of fun. I totally understand why like it's actually probably closer to an esport than anything else in the market right now.
Hey Sam, real quick, say hi to Florida 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
What's up, Florida?
All of Florida.
Wow. It's all Florida.
Except for 9.
Except for 9.
Florida 1 through 8.
Because fuck 9.
9 was the mime.
7, 8, 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
Oh, 7, 8, 9.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. No, it was really cool. People were really into it. I mean, I feel like the demographics are probably close to like what you would see at like a football game in terms of like ratio of men and women, which to me is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh, that was really intense," and you were like, "Oh, okay." Like people were into it.
It was really intense. You're right. I have no idea how, but it was.
No. Like if you so the thing about at least the thing about the games that I watched at the specific finals, it was very much like this kind of attrition type fight where like one specific team fight was going to cause the entire game.
Oh yeah, it's like a soccer match where there's nobody scoring for forever, and then something happens.
Yeah.
And then it just goes to the end.
And soccer is one of my favorite sports, so maybe I should start watching League of Legends tournaments.
But no, like, and so like my friend who was there with me, like we talked a lot about kind of how the business model works around all of this. You know, I legitimately didn't know that these pro players are paid like 6 figures a piece to play.
It is amazing.
Yep.
He was telling, not Paragon Citizen, no. He was telling me how like, you know, they're really moving towards like a lot of schools having, you know, scholarships for playing League of Legends.
Yeah,
like they're really like looking at treating it like a sport.
Yeah.
You know, and he was kind of trying to make this assertion that, you know, they are as specialized as pro athletes are. So that's kind of my first question for this group, which is basically, do you believe that? Like, do you actually think that from a game perspective and a difficulty perspective, that being a pro League of Legends player is as specialized as being like a pro football player? Maybe not in terms of like time, but like in terms of the amount of people who could possibly do it.
You want to say something first, Ben?
No, you go ahead first.
Okay. I do think that having come from like I have an understanding of the MOBA genre, but I come more from the fighting game community, which is as far as esports go, what esports is now. Fighting games have been around for probably close to 15 years, so they've had a longer lifetime already, and we've seen them kind of subsist and seen these professionals that have come up and then actually gotten old enough where they've had to retire because they literally can't keep up anymore with the new people coming in because they're too young. And I do you see the same sort of career trend that you would see in an athlete, where it's just like they're an up and comer and then they're the top of their game and they have a peak and then they kind of taper off as they get older. It's really interesting. And you know, every person's got a fan base, and it's as close to sports as I'm ever gonna get for me. And I think MOBAs are the same way. The only thing about MOBAs that I'm interested in seeing is like there's all these big communities built already around Dota 2, League of Legends, and is Heroes of North still a big one? I'm not even sure anymore. Now there's so many more coming out. But I guess LoL and Dota are still the biggest ones.
Yeah, LoL and Dota are for sure the biggest of them.
I'm interested in seeing, like, LoL is already pretty old. I'm wondering, like, they're still putting a lot of merit into LoL and Dota. And I'm wondering what's going to happen as these games really age out and they move on to the next one. Like, right now, we have, like, 4 or 5 big ones coming out. And
so
I don't think any of them are going to unseat League of Legends, but eventually League of Legends is going to have to convert to League of Legends 2 or something. And
Real quick, I
just
want to throw out there to Bubba, my real name is not Tom.
It's Tom.
It's not Tom.
Bubba.
And I do have to agree. I think the definition of sports and a sports player is I am not Tom. People
what?
listening
Tom reads comics.
Okay. I think the definition is definitely expanding for what a sports person and a sport is actually, going to encompass.
Mm-hmm.
I've been drinking. I feel like my words are not making sense. But I think a sport is anything that requires any real skill to compete at a professional level, and the people who are playing these games on the professional level are doing some intense, crazy things that I could honestly not. I could never imagine being that good at any particular game. I just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before, I don't want to harp too much onto Mike's comment real quick, but I do have a second question. Because I asked him, I'm like, why do you think League is so much more popular from an esports perspective and in just every general perspective than what Blizzard did with StarCraft? Because growing up, it was understood to me that was like a real tournament video game, sporting sort of thing.
Korea national pastime.
Yeah, but it was just in Korea.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things he said, amongst other things about how Blizzard wanted to control things and how much they thought they needed to invest, one of the things he said was team play, playing as a team versus playing as an individual, and how even if you look in modern day, you see a lot less individual sports being as popular as team sports. Mm-hmm. Do you think that has a big play into it?
I think that's directed mainly at you, Mike.
Okay. I think it does. I don't think it necessarily should, but I think a big factor in that is that team sports, team games are inherently harder to cross that line into professional, because then it's not just you spending 1,000 hours playing a game and getting really good at it and then becoming a pro. You have to have those 4 other people that are just as dedicated as you are and that you're teamed up with to get to that point. So it raises the stakes more, I think, and it makes it more interesting to watch, and it creates more dynamics that you're watching within a game so that spectating is better. Which I think you need in a game like a MOBA game, because those games are 30, 40, 50 minutes long. Yeah. Rather than a Street Fighter where it's the match is going to be over in 5 minutes, you need to have something that's keeping people watching the whole 50-minute match, and knowing a team and being able to go through and see the different characters running around and all having their own little matchups on the map and stuff. It's important to that. So I think that the team play is super important for making it what it is.
I have to agree with that. I mean, any sport that is fun to watch is always always the sports, or the sports teams, the team sports.
You're no longer allowed to drink before these?
Yep. Yeah. At least if I drink, I should definitely eat something, which I did not do before the show. No, but fuck it. I'm just not going to talk. You guys get the rest of the show.
He agrees.
He agrees. No, I think it's, to me, as someone who likes co-op, who likes a team element to everything I choose to game with, I definitely think it's an important part. I think for all the things that you talked about, the perfect reasons why playing as a team is more difficult than playing as one individual, especially given all of the it seems like there's also a lot of different mechanics that encourage how a team interacts with each other. from like how you ban player or how you ban certain champions, how you pick them. There's a coach. An entire draft. I didn't know there's a coach.
I didn't know there's a coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a coach. Like it's the coaches shake hands. Like I actually so after CLG won, they went up and they did some like on-stage interviews, and there's this coach, and he's like, I don't know, like early 20s, like clearly very young, and he's like in a suit. And I asked my friend, I'm like, you guys made him wear a suit, dude. Like the coaches wear suits. And he's like, yeah. Like it's like the NBA thing versus like Belichick.
Well, it's that fight of try to keep it what it is and keep it casual, but then trying to break into the mainstream and make it seem like it's really professional and legit. So they have to try and make it as much like a real sport as they can, so that people accept it.
Did they have an announcer during all this too?
They had like an announcing
commentators,
Right. There was commentators, yeah. It wasn't just one announcer. Now here's my other question.
Because I think I think that would be important for me personally, because I don't know much about League, and I think that's one of the great things about a lot of sports is if I don't understand it, the commentators are there to explain it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the commentators don't fill in everything. Like, it's funny because I went on Polygon today, and they actually linked to an article on SB Nation that's a beginner's guide to watching competitive League of Legends live. Which actually, like, after doing it, it actually is pretty good. So here's the other thing. I think we, as a whole, are probably pretty squarely in the demographic of people who should be, like, interested in watching something like this. But as far as I know, none of us watch this.
Right.
Like, why?
Theoretically, I think we're actually a little bit older than the real big group that's into this now. Like, it's the group that's right below us as far as game generations and stuff go.
And not even like, not like literally right below us. Like, people born 3 to 5 years after us are the ones that are watching this.
Yeah, and really into it.
More like 10 to 15 years after you, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it says here, most pros retire around the age of 21. A 23-year-old player at last year's Worlds was considered a wily veteran.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
He retired after the tournament.
What's technically a sport that's only 6 years old, maybe? Like, when did the first Dota came out? It was a Warcraft 3 mod, so I mean, it can't be more than 10 years old.
I think it is.
About 10, maybe?
Oh, okay. It released in 09.
The first Dota released 09?
No, League.
Dota. Oh, League.
Dota was before League. Like, Dota was the first one.
And I feel like I do watch more Dota than I've watched League. But that's also because I've had more friends try to get me into playing Dota.
Yeah.
Even though League is a more accessible game. So fuck my friends. I hate them. I mean, Sam, do you think we're going to start seeing more games? More, I guess, a wider variety of genres get into the esports thing? Like, obviously, League and the MOBA is a big esports push. Like, there are the Dota World Championships. There's the League of Legends Championships. Heroes of the Storm had a championship already. Do you think we're going to start seeing, like, Battleborn is coming out? Do you think we're going to start seeing some first-person shooters enter the realm of esports?
So I'd like to say yes, but I don't know. Well, because I think there's a good chance that people aren't going to put the amount of effort and money into developing games into esports-friendly, like, environments. Yeah, and one of the things we talked to...
I was going to say, the interesting is that FPSs have been around for a long time in an esports capacity, but they never were as big as fighting or what MOBAs are now. Like, Counter-Strike was a big one, and it has been for a long... Counter-Strike 1.6 has been competitive play for a long time, and it still is now. They play Global Offensive, but it's never been as big.
It's not as mainstream.
Exactly. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make that jump or not. That's really the question.
You know, Citizen PM in the chat mentions Overwatch for the first person esports thing, and Overwatch I could definitely see working in that way, just for the sheer fact that Blizzard is developing it, and I feel like that's going to be a pretty damn big release. Yeah. I'm excited about
that'll be a contender. I mean,
yeah,
Blizzard's not necessarily gonna make it 100% because StarCraft,
right?
But they know what's going on. They jumped into the MOBA trend fairly early, I guess, with Heroes of the Storm. They got in before all these other games that are coming out now. So I mean, they're trying to get in that direction. I think they want to do these sports games and make them those kind of platforms. But if it succeeds,
I mean, like one of the things we ended up my friend and I ended up talking about is how like Magic would actually be ripe for this type of esportsification. The problem is like they've just not taken the steps necessary to make it interesting for a casual viewer to actually watch a tournament. Because right now it's still like one angle from above, people like guessing at what cards do based on roughly what they can see the outlines of, right? Yeah. And the point being like, why don't you just RFID shit? And like then everything's on the screen. You can interact with the screen, figure out what's being played, and you could auto shuffle things. Like you wouldn't have cheating issues. Like you could make the game an environment that was purely digital friendly and esports friendly.
A card game would have to go digital because I've seen people play Magic and it just becomes this flurry of just moving cards around, and you don't know what the hell's going on if you don't know what all the cards are.
Just a big mess of cards.
Even if you know what the cards are, they're going so fast because they know what they are that you don't even get to see them half the time, and they're just playing out these turns like so quickly. They would have to make it digital and like slow the game down so where it's almost like Yu-Gi-Oh at that point, where it's like there's a visual to go with what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think between commentary and the actual pace of the game, a lot of stuff would actually balance itself out. Because I think like you'd get a chance to see what happens after Complex plays, because there's a lot of pausing to think in Magic. Yeah.
And those pauses are when you take your commercial break.
Like now?
Speaking of commercial breaks, I think it's time to end this topic and move on to the next one.
I think we actually might want to cut the last topic because it's almost 11:30.
We got time.
You think? I think it's like a 10-minute topic. I can make it a 10-minute topic. That's fine.
We started a little late.
Look, Ben just won't talk. I will speak as much as I know about the topic, which is about this much.
I'm just the pretty face of this anyways. So,
okay.
Real quick, guys, don't forget to catch us on our other shows throughout the week. My sister Anna and I host a comic book club show every other Wednesday, and then on those off weeks, I do a news show about comics. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, you can catch Mike, the one in the lower left, hosting the Nerdy Nights Let's Play podcast, where currently he is taking me through my very first playthrough of a Final Fantasy game, and we are playing through Final Fantasy VII.
Indeed we are.
And Sam will eventually have his own show, but he doesn't
Soon.
now.
Damn it, Paul.
Of course, for all of these shows, visit www.nkrn.org. And yeah, that's where you can find everything, essentially. Mm-hmm. Last topic of the evening, Mike.
Yeah.
Going.
Okay, so I talked about it a little bit last week. I've been playing this mobile Kingdom Hearts game that came out.
Which there's an NKR team.
Yes, there is a Nerdy Nights party in there, and you have to join the Volpace Union, and then you can join the party. It's a weird system, and it's not very user friendly. But there is a Nerdy Nights party that you can join on that game. Anyway, the game, as expected, is a mobile game, so you can play it for free and everything, but it has like the in-game currency that you can pay real money to get, and that whole thing. And you do all of your actions in the game with medals that have like levels that you can level up and then evolve, and then level up and then evolve, and it's got this, just a very generic collect everything you can, and then you have a stamina bar, so you can only do so much at a time, and it has to refill based on like 3 minutes to get 1 point, things like that. It's pretty standard for a mobile game right now, right? Final Fantasy was the same way. Fallout was not. Fallout was actually a nice breath of fresh air.
Fallout,
kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, you had the things that you could buy though, because there was an in-game currency.
But there wasn't like a stamina system to limit what you could do at a time. You could kind of just play all day, really, if you wanted to. So
right, that's true.
What I'm getting at is this is a new design philosophy that's been happening since mobile games started getting bigger, and wanting to have games be free, but then still figure out a way to limit progression in the game and get people to pay money if they want to, and hope that they do pay money, because that's how they make money on a free game. And while we haven't seen that crossover yet to like a console game, really, I'm wondering, like, I just want to talk about this direction of let's try and limit progression. The version we see of this in console games is in Destiny and Division, where they can limit how they dole out exotic stuff for us, right? So, like, in Destiny, the new light level is 335, and we started at 320, and we can only get, for free, we can only get 3 of those treasure boxes a week, which means we can only get 3 pieces of gear a week that are going to be new, technically, unless you pay for more. And in the same sense, you can only get so much gear that's higher than the light level you're at quickly. So it's a way to manufacture a timeline of how long it's going to take you to get to something, instead of just sitting down and playing it really fast because you have the time to. What do you guys think about that? Like, forcing people to follow your timeline, even if you paid for a game like Destiny or for Division, where it's like, if I wanted to sit down and play through it all and get to the end, I should be able to, but I can't.
Yeah, no, that is how I would want to play a game. Is if I have the time, I want to sit through and I want to finish it.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of the reason these kinds of things are appearing in games, if they ever appear in games that aren't digital-only games, they're going to appear in games to kind of limit the trade-in factor. Because that is a developer and a publisher's worst nightmare, are trade-ins. Yeah. Because when you trade a game in and a company like GameStop sells a used game, they see zero profit from the sale of that pre-owned game. So I feel like that would be a really shitty thing to do, to keep your game at someone's house for just a longer amount of time. Yeah. And I mean, especially for me, like, yeah, I sit down and I play games pretty much every evening, but I want to be able to just, if I have the time, I want to be able to just go through and finish it.
Right.
Because I don't always have the time to play through a big story. And like, my worst nightmare would be a game like Elder Scrolls or The Witcher having the stamina thing where you're just like, oh, well, you've done as much as you can do for today. Now you have to wait 6 hours.
Now you have to wait till tomorrow.
It's like, no, you guys go to hell. I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that's.
So how would you feel? What would you be your reaction? What would it be everyone's reaction if Elder Scrolls 6 came out and it was free? You go on PS4 on the store, you download Elder Scrolls 6, and it's a free game. But then they have that stamina bar where it's like, okay, well, you have 100 points of stamina, and it costs you 10 points to accept a quest and to finish it. So you can do 10 quests, and then you get 1 point every 5 minutes. So that refills that bar.
I mean, people would stop playing.
You think?
Until remote play got really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reason it works on mobile is that you literally have your device with you all the time. Like, unless you're making your living streaming on Twitch, and that's all that you're doing, you do not have your console with you all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they further time gate it by saying, like, oh, all of your stamina refills in, like, 2 hours, right? And so if you're not there at the end of 2 hours or 1 hour, you're actually missing out on content. you're missing out on more things you could do to buff yourself up. So I feel like a lot of these like freemium games are getting to the point where they're really kind of like zoning in on that secret like mix to get you to play a lot. Like I am playing Metal Slug Attack right now, and the amount of free play I get in that game per day is massive. I think I can play like 3 to 4 hours a day if I wanted to.
You're just doing it in pieces throughout the day where it fits.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but even then, it's not even that bad. Like I can play for like 2 to 3 hours if I really wanted to, because there's enough free non-stamina content.
Right.
The stamina content will unlock additional things that I want to get, and it's actually a gate for the level system. So I get all of that. So I think until you get like remote play where you can play anywhere, if you take a AAA style title and try to put this game on it, I think you're just going to get a lot less players.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't think, and I could eat my words in like 3 years or something, I don't think the way the marketplace is right now that it would financially make sense.
No.
I think you would make more money by selling your game at $60 than getting 4 times the number of players at free and trying to count on your ability to incent them to pay you something.
Right. So let's flip it a little bit then. What if, say, Destiny 2 comes out, and technically it's free? So you can jump in and play Destiny 2,
it's free.
And you have stamina for like Crucible, and that's what you get for free is Crucible, and you have stamina based in that, right? So you can do so many matches an hour or whatever, as much as you want. But you can pay the $60 and uncap it, unlock the game, and get everything. Do you think that's a boon to Bungie to get more people playing the game? Not only playing Crucible at a time, but also getting people in and addicted, and then pay the $60 to get the game.
I think it would over time.
Yeah.
I think it would over time. I think initially there'd be enough of a backlash of like, this is stupid, I'm never gonna do this, blah blah. Then you'd have people like, oh well, that's like a video game.
Filling Crucible with casuals that suck.
Real quick, wasn't there a game that did that though, where they made the multiplayer free, but if you wanted to play the single player, you had to pay the $60?
I think Uncharted 3's multiplayer was free.
I feel like there was another one though. Yeah, because
that does not sound like an uncommon thing, Ben. I feel like there's got to be at least a couple games that did that.
I'm specifically talking console game.
Like,
I'm sure there are plenty of PC games that are like that, but I feel like there was a game on console that did that. But
no, I mean I don't doubt it. I feel like I've heard of something like that.
And the Uncharted one was only free if you were a PlayStation Plus.
Ah, well, that's good too.
Oh yeah.
Darn, that's going to bother me. I'll have to look that up and maybe bring it up next episode. No, but I mean, I agree. It works really well for the mobile games because it does say, okay, I've been playing this game. I've been staring at my phone too long. Might as well put my phone in my pocket and actually, do something.
Yeah. Now, see, going back to Kingdom Hearts, I feel like they almost messed up the system actually, because right now I finished the main game, which is 200 quests until it updates, and I'm like level 70 something, I think 76, 77. I basically never had an issue with stamina until last night, because what happens is every time you level up, it refills your stamina. And you level up almost after every quest. And right now, during this like entry period, every quest only costs half as much stamina. So I literally rushed through the entire game in like 10 days and have basically done everything I can do, more or less. And
do you gain more stamina for having people in your group?
No. The main benefit of your party is there's raid bosses that happen after you've killed so many enemies within the game, and then your party can jump in and fight the raid bosses and help you knock their health down.
Gotcha.
Which is, for most of the game, didn't matter because I could kill a raid boss by myself in one battle. But now that I've gone through 200 quests, they're pretty hard. The first time I ran into a stamina issue was last night fighting a raid boss. I literally went into battle against him like 6 times and ran out of stamina, so I couldn't kill him.
Gotcha.
And that's what your party's for. But yeah, now I'm worried that, I've played through the entire game with no stamina issues. Now I don't have anything to do. And then when the game does update, and like I might have stamina issues, I feel like it's just gonna frustrate me. I'm gonna stop playing. Because I'm gonna do like three or four quests, the new quests that come out, run out of stamina, and then just not play it for the rest of the day until the next day, and then it's just gonna slow down to a crawl until I quit. So I think that they might have actually hurt themselves with how user friendly they made it right now, which is interesting to think of.
Yeah. Well. Does anyone have anything they want to add to this topic before we close out for the evening?
I don't really have a bow to wrap that topic in.
Boo freemium games.
No. Yeah.
Boo or
so,
yes,
so it's actually interesting because when you talked about like leveling up, the really weird part that I have noticed, at least from playing Metal Slug, is that the level up gap is actually the same at some point. Like in this game, it's 5,000 experience.
Mm-hmm.
Does not change.
It's always 5,000.
Which I think is crazy because like I can get it in like 2 days.
Right.
Like 2 days of like an hour playing, I'll get the level ups. It just feels like it's too much.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I need more time getting, but you know what? It's good. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah. Some of them are good.
I've played it for
as much
like
as I might not
days
like the design aspect of it. They're fun games, so they they win.
Yeah,
they're not getting my money still, but I'm playing the game, so.
For me, I think my guilty pleasure one is Hearthstone. It's like you can play that game for free.
Yeah.
I don't have to play. I don't have to play cards. I don't have to pay for cards.
I still haven't touched Hearthstone. I'm kind of afraid.
It's fun.
I like Hearthstone.
It's fun. I go through phases of Hearthstone where it's like I play it a lot for a couple of weeks and then I stop and then I play it a lot and then I stop. But no, it's a fun game, especially if you don't have a console handy. You can play it on pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Except for a console.
One day.
So real quick, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can find us all over the internet. Mike, aka Black Shirt, is on Twitter at MikeV. That's MAIKV on Twitter.
There you go.
And you can follow Sam on Twitter and pretty much everywhere on the internet. Real quick, Sam is Yellow Shirt at DJ Fluffkins. And of course, you can follow me, aka Red Shirt.
AKA not going to be on the show next week because you're Red Shirt on this show.
Yeah, I know, because I died. And you can follow me on Twitter at BRidiculous. That's BRIDDICKULOUS. You can follow everything that the Nerdy Knights do at nerdy_knights. And of course, you can follow all of our content at www.nkrn.org. Thank you guys. It's been an excellent night, and I officially dubbed the Nerdy Knights of the round. Go out and defend the realm of the Nerdy Knights, and until next week, remember, it's dangerous to go alone. God, I'm just